He says matter is a crystalline structure of photons, ether medium particles squeezed into a crystalline structure. But then he follows that up and says, quantum ether cannot have material existence. What is their problem here? The problem is that he starts out saying matter is blah, 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 and then he says quantum is not matter. It's not have material, it cannot have material existence. And so we have to look up the word matter. Here's the Wikipedia, and to find out what matter is according to quantum mechanics. And it says in classical physics and general chemistry, right? So we're not talking about quantum, right? Matter is any substance that has mass and takes up space by having volume. It does not include massless particles such as photons or other energy phenomena or waves such as light or sound. Matter exists in various states: solids, liquid, gas, and also they say plasma, Bose-Einstein condensates, fermionic condensates, quark-gluon plasma, etc. So they have these different states. So what are they referring to? Well, they're saying anything that has volume and takes up space and has mass. Okay, and it continues. It says now they get to the quantum part. Okay, here's the fine print. Usually atoms can be imagined as a nucleus of protons and neutrons and a surrounding cloud of orbiting electrons which take up space. However, this is only somewhat correct. So there you get the fine print. Because subatomic particles and their properties are governed by their quantum nature, which means they do not act as everyday objects appear to act. They can act like waves as well as particles, and they do not have well-defined sizes or positions. Okay, so there's the qualifier, okay? In the standard model of particle physics, matter is not a fundamental concept because the elementary constituents of atoms are quantum entities which do not have an inherent size or volume in everyday sense of the word. So with that, they were able to weasel out of the definition. They don't have a definition of matter. Because you say, well, is an electron matter? Well, it is a matter when it's a particle and it has volume and it has mass, but when it's spread out and turns into a wave, well, at that point, well, all bets are off. We don't call it matter anymore. Now we call it energy. And so, when matter turns into energy, well, we're talking about a different word and we don't know what energy is. And so, we're left with this, what is matter? I mean, is an electron matter or not? The other issue with that is that, they say that even macroscopic particles, right, also have wave-like characteristics. In other words, even we beings, humans, we have wave-like characteristics. It's just that, it's more visible or more detectable or more measurable in subatomic particles. Those vibrate. And so you say, oh yeah, it could be a wave, it could be a particle. But us, we're so concentrated, in ourselves, in our bodies, the rock, that it does vibrate, but its vibration is minimal compared to its particle nature, to its, to the fact that it's an object, that it occupies a definite space. And so, for that matter, then nothing is matter, because if everything vibrates in the universe, and, we can't call anything matter. And that's why they can't define the word. So the bottom line, there is no definition for the word matter. And so when this fellow here says, that, where is it? That matter is blah, blah, blah. And then he says, but quantum ether cannot have material existence. Well, at this point, we don't know what he's talking about. And, what does that mean? I mean, the ether is there or is not? What do you mean it doesn't have material existence? There's nothing there, or is there something there? So on the one hand, they say, well, look, it's made of particle and anti-particle pairs, but there's no physical existence. So it's like we're saying, what contours each thing in the universe? What contours the moon? What's around the moon? And they say, well, it's the ether. Is that matter? Because, I mean, it's made out of particle and anti-particle pairs, right? That sea in which the moon swims, that ocean. And the answer is, well, yeah, but we can't consider that matter. Why? Because it's spread out into waves, and, and they jumble up the answer, and they say, well, we don't want to deal with that issue. We don't know what matter is. So they use the word matter, and then they say, well, it's not material. And you say, what did you mean by that? Oh, we don't know, because we don't have a definition for matter. That's the answer. Okay, so In how do we do it in rational science? In science, we have no problem. Rational physics defines these things very precisely so that you can follow the presenter's presentation. Okay, here it is. Here's the dissertation founded on these foundations. Okay, it says first of all, first priority is define your key terms. You got to define the terms that make or break your theory. That's a sine qua non. That's the first step always. So if you define your terms, people can follow your presentation. You cannot say, "Oh, matter. What did you mean by matter? Oh, I don't know what I mean by matter because the particle can turn into a wave, and then we don't know, and blah blah blah." So they put all these fine prints. Here's straightforward. What is something? That which has shape. What is nothing? Antonym of something. That which doesn't have shape. We're done. Space, void, vacuum, and nothing are all synonyms. It's that which doesn't have shape. That's what space is. Okay, that's why when you look out there at the black sky, other than the matter that you see in between, that dark stuff, just the dark stuff, that's nothing. That's absolutely nothing. There's no particle there making up that black nothing. Okay, doesn't mean that there's not anything crisscrossing it that we can't see. That's a separate issue. What I'm saying, the black part is not made of anything. That's the point. The black part is the background, and it's not infinite because it's not a physical object, and it's not made of anything. It's exactly what I just said. It's that which doesn't have shape. What is distance? Separation between two objects or two somethings. Location is the set of distance of one object to all others, and now we can define the word exist. Very important here. Physical presence, something that has location. The table I'm thinking of or dreaming of, that one doesn't have location. Okay, so that doesn't exist. Superman doesn't exist. Maybe his colors exist, on the paper and the color and the pen or the ink. Those exist, but not Superman. Okay, and what is matter? Matter is a subset of exist. Matter is only those objects that exist form what is called matter. Objects that don't exist, like the ones I'm thinking about, the table that I'm thinking of, those do not form part of matter.